In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Alice, the last boss rush character that I haven't made a video on. So the boss rush characters got buffs, and I've made videos on Gilgamesh, Kokushibo, and Broly. So far, Kokushibo is the best overall, Gilgamesh is the worst overall, and Broly is the strongest. So, is Alice viable? Now, I make a lot of showcases, and the reason why I know so much is because I test my characters very thoroughly. I try to get damage, energy gain, and assist, everything like that, and I also try to see how they perform for both beginners and late game players. Also in the middle, but mainly beginners and late game players, both in raids, dimensions, and different tests as well. So subscribe if you want more showcases and also access to the spreadsheet, so I can also make more videos on Adobe dimensions and showcases in the future. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. The first ability is a really good dash with really good damage, above average energy gain, but a bit slow cooldown. The second ability is as strong and has the same cooldown as has the same energy gain, so it's basically the same as the first ability but not a dash. The third ability is a bit slower, but almost twice the damage, almost triple the energy gain, and almost triple the length of the cooldown, so it makes up for it. The fourth ability is not that much stronger than the third ability, but the energy gain is really good, and it also heals a bit. The assist is not that good, 10 times damage is not the best, and the cooldown is also 75 seconds, so I don't recommend using Alice as an assist. Just like the other boss rush characters, Alice does not have a spam ability, and her third and fourth abilities are pretty slow, so she can't use a lot of abilities, which is why she's pretty bad in the burst test. In boss rush, she has really good first and second abilities, while the third and fourth abilities have a lot of damage, but they're pretty slow. Now, the energy gain actually works here, even though the second ability is just the same as the first ability, because they're both kind of fast, so she can spam them if you get the Garrow Pet activation timed. Now, she is the best boss rush character for boss rush, but that is because I'm using one card. If I used 3, I think Broly would be stronger, but Alice, in this test, is the strongest boss rush character for boss rush. In the regular dimension test, Alice is pretty good. She can one-shot basically any mob because her abilities are really strong. Like, the first ability is 11x damage. That is really strong. One of the strongest first abilities in the game. And it's a dash with good AoE. So she has really good moves that one-shot in a regular dimension run if you have the best gear. Now, this makes her just like flow through the dimension, one-shotting everything, not using the third and fourth abilities because they actually lock you in place, so just using the first and second abilities, which has good damage and good AoE, enough to just one-shot everything. You just go through the dimension as fast as you can, and this is pretty fast. This is pretty fast actually, just 1 second slower than Kokushibo. Kokushibo was previously the best dimension character in the game. In the speedrun test, everyone can one-shot everything, so this is just the same as the regular test. You skip using the third and fourth abilities, and you just use the first and second abilities to go through the dimension as fast as possible. She's really good at this, but here, actually, you one-shot everything, so having a very good dash is really good, which is why Kokushibo really beats Alice this time, and in regular test, he was barely better, but in the speedrun test, if you're speedrunning, Kokushibo is a lot better than Alice, but Alice is still the better than Gilgamesh and Broly in dimensions for speedrunning. In the one card test, where I only use one card for dimensions, she falls off a bit because her damage is not very good. Broly actually almost catches up to her in the one card test, because here damage is really important. You don't one-shot any enemy, you basically two-shot all of the enemies, or maybe 3-shot even, so you have to use a bit more moves, and sometimes I actually have to use the third and fourth abilities to just kill enemies with Alice, so she falls off a bit, but she still does have a dash that's really good, and her first and second abilities are pretty strong, so it helps, and she's still the second best boss rush character for dimensions with one card. In the bad gear test, Alice is okay actually. She is the worst boss rush character in it, but she is better than all of the current limited raid characters, which is a pretty good thing. And this is because the first and second abilities have pretty good cooldowns. They both have 7 seconds. Well, the first ability, 7 seconds is not the best, but in general they synergize very well. You can use first ability, second ability, just in a combo all the time after 7 seconds, or if you have better cooldown reduction after like 4 seconds. And they have a lot of damage. Now, the third and fourth abilities are pretty bad, but you just use them while you're waiting for the first and second abilities, and then once you don't have any ability, you mouse one click until you have your first and second abilities again, which isn't a long cooldown, because the second ability 7 seconds is pretty good for that matter. So she's actually pretty good in the bad gear test. When using better gear, and especially Gyro Pet, she does not synergize as well. Well, the first and second abilities are really good because they have a lot of damage, they have pretty good cooldowns, and they're quick to use. And the energy gain is the reason why it's not that good, because just using your first and second abilities would be great, but you can't because you don't get basically any energy from them. The first ability has above average energy gain, but the second ability has the same, which is very bad for a second ability. So you need to use the third and fourth abilities a lot and rely on them to get the energy, and those are not the strongest for how long they take, and the cooldown, they're pretty bad actually. They take a long time and you don't get a lot from it. So she does not synergize that well, and is still one of the worst boss rush characters for this test, but she is beating Gilgamesh this time. When using meta gear, she again beats Gilgamesh, but it's still beaten by the other two boss rush characters, and this is because just even with faster cooldowns and stronger attacks, she just has the same problem. The third and fourth abilities are the only skills that actually provides her with energy, because the first and second abilities, you can't use them for energy, basically. It would take too long. So you need the fourth and third abilities, and that just, they take so long. They take the same amount of time, but you have faster cooldowns. It's actually even worse when having better cooldown reduction. So the better gear you have with Alice, the worse she's going to be. And in this test, she wasn't that good either. So here is the overview of Alice again, because you've seen everything about Alice now. So the damage, the energy gain, the cooldowns, and the effects for all moves, including the assist. She does not have an awakening. Her assist is not that good, and here is the results for Alice and also all the other boss rush characters. Now this doesn't tell you that much, I have all the stats here, you can check that out in my spreadsheet. But here is the tier list of the characters I've checked out so far, and it's not full yet, it's work in progress, but the goal is going to be to have every single character in the game, so I can have the most accurate tier list in the game. But yeah, Alice is the worst boss rush character in raids, when using bad gear, and only beating Gilgamesh among the boss rush characters otherwise. So she's not very good in raids, like relative to the other boss rush characters. But if you have bad gear, like if you're a beginner, most of you guys are, 99% of people watching this video right now are probably, then she is better than the current raid characters. She is better than Mash, she's better than Mob, and she's also better than Mihawk and the best gem characters they can get for now, like Power and Gem Sunjing Wu. So she is actually really good if you have bad gear. So you could use her if you only have her, but if you have any other raid character, boss rush character, use them. And with good gear, best gear, she's not good at all. You should not use her. And in speedruns, she's actually pretty okay. She does have a dash that's good, she has good AoE, she has pretty fast moves, the first and second abilities are pretty good, and the dash is really good. So she is pretty good in Dimensions, she's actually one of the better ones, and she is beaten by Kokushibo though, so if you have Kokushibo, you just use Kokushibo instead of Alice. Burst test, she's very bad, and boss rush test, she's pretty good. She actually does have pretty fast burst damage, if you have not only 10 seconds but a bit more time, so she is okay in that aspect. But in general, Alice is basically on par with raid characters and one of the worst boss rush characters. Now what I mean with that is that Alice is not really the best boss rush character at all. She's not the best at anything actually. In Dimensions, Kokushibo is the best, as an assist, Gilgamesh is the best, and in raids, Broly is the best. The only thing she's the best at is boss rush, which could change if you get under 10 seconds. Then probably Kokushibo or maybe Broly is the best, and not Alice. But now I use one card. So she's not really the best boss rush character, so if you have all four, you're never gonna use Alice. But if you only have Alice, she's okay, especially if you have bad gear, because she's pretty good then. And if you have bad gear, she's actually gonna be almost better, or at least on par with the limited raid characters Mash, Mihawk, and Mob. And if you have good gear, both in Dimensions and raids, she's gonna be slightly worse or on par with the raid characters. So she's actually okay, and in Dimensions, she's also pretty good. So in general, Alice is more like similar to the raid characters, current limited raid characters, in terms of how good she is. Now she is better than Gilgamesh, but in general, she's among like similar skill and similar how good they are to limited raid characters. But in general, I think she is the second worst boss rush character, even though she's better than Broly in Dimensions, because Broly is the strongest raid character. He has more use. And Gilgamesh is the worst, Kokushiba is the best. Alice is okay, almost as good as the limited raid characters, if she isn't already. But yeah, that's about everything about Alice, and next video I will cover on Kurumi. So subscribe if you want more showcases and access to the spreadsheet, so I can also continue making these accurate tier lists. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.